Hello, it's just about 7 o'clock here, and if you've been on for a while, that little ditty in the background is in your ear like it's in mine. I'm going to put on pause for now. Let's see. And let me welcome you to Museum Nights, Local Vocal. This evening, we're celebrating creatives locally here in the community here at the University of Florida as part of the Harn Museum of Art's Museum Nights for December. Museum Nights, of course, is a monthly event. They have in the past been live. Currently, they are online in response to the COVID pandemic. And each month we meet here now at 7 o'clock. Our previous time was 6, but our new time is 7 due to popular demand. We meet here in the evenings, and every month, we have a theme. So we're focusing on our local creatives. As you can see in the slideshow, we've just gathered together some of the wonderful people that we know here in Gainesville who we want to include in a slideshow. You may know other organizations and activities that allow all of us to get creative, to discover our inner artist, inner dancer, inner performer. And we would love you to share this with us. So you'll see in just a moment on the screen, we've got a slide letting you know how to share your favorite local creative opportunities. I'm Eric Siegel, Director of Education here at the Harn. And tonight we're going to be joined by a whole bunch of creative people. We're going to start by having a conversation and a brief look at a theater performance. We'll meet with Brittney Caldwell, a Gator alum and actor, playwright, along with Stanley Richardson, who I'll introduce, an actor and poet who you all know well if you're here in Gainesville, and Jeffrey Pufahl, an incredible UF faculty member who generates amazing projects. And we'll see some of the performance of one of these projects from Colored to Black, and we'll hear about that performance a bit and how it came to be. We'll also be featuring dance tonight, as we did last month. Last month we had live dance, which is completely fascinating. And tonight we have actually a couple of recorded pieces of dance by UF students, and they are amazing, and they're specifically made for the screen. So I think you'll be really excited to see these, and I'm glad that you're here to experience them. We welcome your comments. We're going to have conversations with both our theater people and our dance people. So if you've got thoughts, questions, comments, you can pop them into the chat. I'd love right now just to hear from you in the chat where you're viewing from. I'm here in Gainesville, and I'd love to know where you're viewing from. So go ahead and pop that in the chat if you'd like to share your very general location. The museum is open currently Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Our hours, of course, on our website. And our hours are likely to expand in the spring, so you'll want to watch for that. And we have amazing exhibitions that you haven't seen if you haven't been to the Harn since before the COVID pandemic closed the museum for a few months. You'll want to stop by and see Terry Evans' Stories of the American Prairies. These are remarkable photographs of places and some people as well that tell the story of our changing landscape and are amazingly engaging and inspiring. That show just opened, so it'll be up for through July. Breaking the Frame, Women Artists in the Harn Collections is on view until May 2021. Really great exhibition, curated by not one, not two, not three, but 4 Harn curators. So a lot of brain power there. Every Day to the Extraordinary, highlights from the Korean collection, is an ongoing exhibition that opened recently, so you won't have seen that either. We invite you to come visit. And finally, you must come soon to catch Dreaming Alice, Maggie Taylor Through the Looking Glass. Maggie Taylor's work you may know, and if you don't, you'll love getting to know it. It's very charming, challenging in a delightfully visual way. And this is a suite of photographs that explore Alice Through the Looking Glass. On view until January 2021. So make sure you come by soon. Anything else you want to say before we get rolling? I think that's it. I think my guests are here. I'm going to bring them on board, and we'll come back and share some of our viewing opportunities in a moment. Let's see. Sorry, just a little technical, and here they come. Good evening, good evening. I'm catching Jeffrey off guard with his accordion. I hope he has it with him tonight. Brittney, lovely to see you. Thank you for being here. I believe you're in a different time zone. What's your time zone?
I'm in San Diego, so I'm in the Pacific time zone.
Excellent. You still have some sunlight going.
Absolutely.
Stan, thank you. I heard you read a prayer last night, and it was very moving. I've seen a lot of you. You're an amazing force in this community. And thank you for joining us in your very busy schedule. Jeffrey, great to have you. Thanks for making this possible. You're the linchpin that connects everything together. What we're going to do is we're going to share and talk about From Color to Black. I'm going to actually start with just a very short clip of Stan's performance in another piece, just to get a flavor of Stan and get us going. And then we're going to learn about From Color to Black. And let's see, I got this here. And we'll look at a longer clip from that. So this is just about 45 seconds to put us in the mind of, we're talking about theater, we're talking about performance that's very engaging, immediate, and about topics that relate to where we are now. So if I can get this up and running, and got to share screen, and then we will go. Crossing our fingers.
And you know, there's never an explanation of why.
Because then they would have to teach the children why it's still happening.
Yes, Lord.
Why are our black men still being kidnapped, enslaved, and lynched by the hands of the law? Why are these the same hands of the law that's supposed to protect and serve us? Why are these the same hands of the law that strike down the gavel sound, sentencing us to the slammer, to slam our dreams, to sentence generations to struggle, and to smash the striving of our people, and to smuggle them back into slavery?
So we actually had a glimpse of Brittney in there. We didn't give you many lines, but because Brittney, of course, is an actor as well. But Stan, that was a command performance. There's a longer video that is really very powerful, and both thematically in the presentation. So thank you, Jeffrey, for making that video available to us. So I want to back up a little bit and begin by talking. This is probably Jeffrey and Brittney first, about the genesis of From Color to Black and how that emerged for you as a project, and what your roles were as you developed the play before you brought in the actors. And then we'll talk more about bringing in the actors. Jeffrey, I think it probably begins at your computer or maybe in a conversation somewhere. If you could tell us a little bit about your work and how it feeds into this play.
Sure. Well, I am a publicly engaged scholar, theater scholar in the Center for Arts and Medicine. And so my research lands at the intersection of arts and health. And I look in particular at how theater can generate and be a catalyst for critical discussion in community around health issues in particular. And so broadly, that social justice and racial justice falls into that category. And so I was doing a residency in the Samuel Proctor Oral History Program. And I've had a bit of history as an actor and a director, and I've done some work in art galleries, and I really wanted to connect oral history in a performance in the art gallery. And so I sort of constructed this residency to connect with students and the art gallery and the oral history archive, and see what we could do as far as creating performance that address social justice issues. And so then it sort of moved forward into a conversation between us, Eric, where we sat down for a coffee and I said, what have you got going on in the exhibit? What can I do? And you said, well, we've got the Jacob Lawrence exhibit coming through next year. We were about a year before my internship started. And so, yeah, I thought that would be fabulous. Jacob Lawrence, what amazing life, labor, education, these themes that are a part of American history and Black American history. How could we, link those to the rich archive, African American archive in the in Sam Proctor Oral History Department? So that's kind of how it was born. And the other piece there, that sort of how Brittney became involved, is Brittney may want to tell this part of the story. In fact, this is kind of like in improvisation where we say, but Brittney tells this part better.
Yeah, so
Jeffrey,
I guess it would be where I take over. So I heard that Jeff had an internship going, and I knew he'd be working with the oral history program and creating plays. And me, selfishly, I was thinking, well, if I can take an interview and write a play, I'll be able to write my own one-woman show after I leave here. I'll never need to work for somebody else. So then I found out that he was focusing on the African American section, and then I was really excited. So I did my MFA internship with Jeff, and we had done lots of projects together, little projects over the course of my studies. And I was excited to get to work with him because we worked well together. So myself and 8 other students were interning, and we all wrote a one-act play based on the interviews and performed them at the museum in front of the artwork with the community there. And it was compelling and moving, and the audience was really taken. And Jeff and I were really proud of the work we'd done. And Stan was there from the beginning, of course, because that's our guy. And Jeff looked at me and said, Brittney, I think this is a whole play, and you're going to write it. And I was like, okay, Jeff, I'm graduating. I'm out of here, but it's a good idea. But he held me to it. And, he gave me my little summer break essentially, and we got back to work. We started meeting with people in the community. We had more talk back sessions. We would read scenes from the play, and we started to develop more material to be the linking connections between the scenes that we had performed at the museum.
that's really great. And that the fuller play is available online. I had the link scrolling earlier in my PowerPoint. I'll bring it back later on. So I strongly urge people to go check out this website. The link at it's on UF Arts and Medicine. You can see the whole play. We're going to look at it a bit tonight. But Brittney, I'm so excited that you were connected with Jeffrey and catalyzed by the connection between the exhibition and this project. Can you tell me a little bit more about your encounter with the oral history archives? Did someone just hand you some notes? Did you have to dig into the archives? How did that develop for you?
So there was a co-teacher for the internship, Ryan Marini, and he was very, very familiar with the archives. So we actually went around the art first, and we started to kind of connect themes of each of the sections. And that's kind of how we focused in on what we wanted as individuals to write about. And then with the help of Ryan, he would direct us to an interview that he knew of with specific people. He gave us lots and lots of interviews to read. And I grew really attached to a specific interview. And that was the basis of my one act that was also called From Color to Black. The Reynolds family, their story was just amazing. It helped me to see how far away we think that the problems between Black and white families are racial issues and segregation. But that family they're still alive. Well, since then, Mr. Reynolds has passed away, but they were alive and their story was so present and timely, and they were funny and charming. And so I used a lot of their story to write my one act because they were just down in Ocala. And us being right there in Gainesville, I felt like they had to be the center of my focus.
And it is a wonderful piece, and we're going to watch more than half of it in a little while with Stan's performance. And you talked about the response to the play and sort of the immediacy. It was amazing in the talkback, Jeff. You'll of course remember this, that people who had lived through civil rights, who had lived through integrating the lunch counter at Woolworths, who had lived in St. Augustine, who had lived the history that's in the oral history archives that seems ancient. You brought it to life in your play, and people connected with it because they were there, and they were so grateful about that. And then a younger generation who wasn't there was amazingly engaged as well. It was a powerful presentation. I'm really
Thank you. Yeah,
so
that
happy.
was kind of what inspired Jeff and I. We would have talkbacks after the show, and it was like the audience needed more. They needed to talk about these things. They needed to see it. Their voices need to be validated. Their feelings needed to be heard. And they wanted to discuss this. And, that was just at the Harn. That doesn't even compare to when we had the full performances. Those talkbacks were just as intense, to the point where Jeff had to just shut them down most of the time because the actors needed to go home. But the audience would have stayed as long as we allowed them to continue to discuss these issues. And that's when we knew that it was really important for us to do this work.
Yeah. And I'm incredibly grateful to the three of you and everyone else who was involved for bringing it to the museum and making that authentic connection to the Lawrence exhibition. That exhibition was really important to the community as a whole, the African-American community. I had many people who engaged me as a partner on programs in that community, in that exhibition. And what you did was you drew this amazing connection from the exhibition, from this museum, which is often feels inaccessible to a lot of people, over there on Southwest 34th Street, not great bus service, sort of on the University of Florida campus. You helped to make that exhibition really relevant and welcoming. And so it was so important. It's a real highlight in my little career. So I'm grateful. In a moment, I'd love to play the clip with Stan and bring Stan in. But Jeff, before we do, can you just give us a little bit more of a picture? I mean, what you do is fascinating, thinking about theater as not just presentation and performance, but as healing, as social work, social engagement. Can you just tell us a little bit more broadly about that, the theory of that work, the efficacy of that work, as you understand it?
Sure. Well, I guess as a field, applied theater really is a community-based form of theater making and playmaking that tries to engage an entire community and is often used as a means of storytelling and surfacing stories that are often untold or not within, I don't know what you might call the dominant narrative, or, looking at things that aren't seen or are invisible. So community storytelling projects are this form of research, whereas stories and lived experience is really a form of information that, when I first discovered the archive in particular, I thought, oh my goodness, like all these stories are sitting in these digital archives waiting to come back to life to be told. And coming from away, I'm an immigrant to this country, and sort of I'm starting to understand how narratives around Black history and Black oral history have been suppressed in this area. Looking into information around events that have transpired in Gainesville in North Central Florida, I thought there could be some catharsis, some sense of community that could come together if we brought these stories to the foreground. And in particular, there is, as I've discovered, a long history even between the Gainesville community and UF. And so having these stories brought forward and acted by the community, and oftentimes the narrators who told those stories, and then bringing them to UF campus, is an acknowledgement of the past, and is a step in a reconciliation of some kind, to even just to look at the past and shine a light on it as a community, and then to invite the community into those spaces is very empowering. I found. I mean, I know I'm a white male immigrant, but for me, the research was a genuine sense of wanting to know more, of wanting to understand the history, and wanting to experience the conversation and what it can do for a community.
Thank you, Jeff. That's really helpful and insightful. We're going to move from the theory to the concrete presentation in a moment. Brittney, I'm showing most of From Color to Black. I took out a short section in the beginning. It covers Rosewood very much. Do you want to say just a couple of words of introduction to the play?
Sure. So From Color to Black is literally my first published one-act piece, and this is a story about the Reynolds family and some of the struggles that they encountered in Central Florida. Stan was magnificent in bringing that character to life. I actually cannot see that without seeing Stan in it. So thank you, Stan, for being a part of it. Again, you really, really helped me to see that character and create a voice for him. So that's pretty much, I think it speaks for itself.
Fabulous. Thank you, Brittney. I'm going to go ahead and line this up and present it. Let me get my share screen going. All righty.
Now, Marion County is not the Marion County it used to be. No, Marion County was a progressive county for black folks. You know, in Ocala, we didn't have to mingle with the white section of town.
We was colored at that time.
Sure was. And you know, since we talking about it, let me tell you, I have been 4 or 5 different things in my lifetime. I've been a Negro, I've been black, but one thing I am definitely and truthfully, I'm colored.
Even though, of course, they use it derogatorily.
I'm still colored, and I'm always gonna be colored. But nowadays, it's this Afro-American that got me being now.
Ain't nobody in my family I can trace back to nobody. Well, hell, I know where the white folks ain't changed, and everything's still the same. Rosewood.
Now, before y'all came here to Marion County, how was it out there in Rosewood?
We had some pretty rough times down there.
Sure did. Sometimes the fellas, they'll go out there and they'll shoot deer or something like that. They'll skin it and leave it in the middle of the road. We have to go around it or whatever.
They put rats and stuff in our mailboxes. Some pretty rough times down there.
Sure was. Hey, you remember Scoggins and the Japanese wife?
Now those were some good people.
Yeah, what was her name? Hunky or Monkey or something.
Her name was Fuji.
Yeah, that's it, Fuji. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah, she gave me some honey or something like that one time.
Yeah, the Scoggins, they was pretty nice as far as I was concerned. Man. We knew them pretty well.
Yeah, we knew everybody. And everybody in Rosewood certainly knew us.
You know, the history, it repeats itself in Rosewood.
Now, what you mean by history repeats itself? I mean, everybody knows what it means, but what do you mean by it?
In 1923, when all the commotion started in Rosewood, when they started chasing all the people of color away.
The Rosewood Massacre.
The only first people of color to move back into Rosewood after that, but chase started in 2003, 7 days before Christmas.
The 18th of December, 2003. I remember it because it was my grandbaby's birthday.
You see, in 1977, I talked to Jim King about buying some land. I was looking for about 5 acres where I could raise some hogs and some chickens where I won't be bothering nobody. He took me up to Rosewood. I ain't know nothing about no Rosewood.
Never even heard of the place.
So We went up there, and we came in. Not the road I usually take to get to his house, but it was another road to come in from the back way. He brought me in there, and we went in, and on both sides of the road, with nothing but palmetto trees.
And palmetto palms, they're beautiful.
Yeah, 40 acres of palmetto trees.
40 acres and
Yeah.
$400 an acre.
Yes.
I said, no, son. No. All I need is 5 acres.
But he looked at it. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna buy it. We get to his office, and I say, about them 40 acres, will you take 300 acres for it? He said, nah, I can't do that.
Oh, but Mr. Kane came back and he said, can you give me $500 down?
I had $3,500 in my pocket. So I said, will you take a check, an out-of-state check? So I wrote him a $500 check on the Bank of Washington, D.C. for them 40 acres.
In Rosewood.
That's right.
Not knowing.
Not knowing nothing at all.
Not knowing. You heard the saying 40 acres?
40 acres in a mule?
That's right. 40 acres and a mule.
In Rosewood.
Yes, I did. I had 40 acres and a mule. But what I found out was the property I bought once belonged to colored people.
The colored people ran away to avoid the massacre and all?
No, they left all that property.
All that property. See, them rich white people up there in Chiefland bought all that land down there. See, I found all that out as the years went by. Now, that's how I got to Rosewood. Now, I said all that to say what I said.
Get to the point, Daddy. Get to the point.
December 18th, 2003.
7 days before Christmas.
My grandbaby's birthday.
My brick home decided to catch fire and destroy itself.
Sure did.
Completely destroy itself. I mean, we had nothing left. I had nothing left on my back but the clothes on my back. Everything gone, material and everything. Even the money we had in the house burnt up. 7 days before Christmas.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
We had to.
That's right, we had to. Because I wanted to rebuild my home. And Levy County refused to give me a permit to rebuild my house, my own land. That's why I say history repeats itself. See, all this time done gone by. We done went from color to black. But ain't too much really changed, except what they calling us.
Wow, wonderful performance, powerful words. Brittney, of course, you're working with the Oral History Archive, so you're primarily using the words of the people themselves, the Reynoldses. It's really amazing. So Stan, what did you receive? Someone put a play in your hand. How did you connect with this project? What was your involvement, and how did you give that character life? You're on mute right now, by the way.
I can't remember how I got connected with the project. First of all, I want to say that Brittney is brilliant. And Jeffrey, I love listening to him. He's an intellectual. He makes it all sound so fabulous and wonderful. But I have no idea. I can't remember. Maybe Jeff and Brittney can remind me how I got connected. I remember. Maybe Stephen.
I'm guessing it was Stephen Butler at the Actors Warehouse, because I had reached out to him first.
I think that's what happened. I think through Stephen, yes. Yeah. But I really enjoyed the process, because whenever I look at any theatrical piece or a movie or anything, I always look at it from the point of view of the creator. Who made this? Who thought this up? How did this come to be? And that's how I view everything. So being involved with this from the building of it was special for me. And to see it all come together was just an amazing experience. And the finished project to actually what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh man, they wrote this, you know, they actually wrote this, and I know them, and they wrote this. But we all had the cool part was when we got together as a community and did the little talk around and just we had this little question answer type thing, and you took some of that material to help you build the play, which was really cool. But I connected with this play. I'm from the area. I'm from North Central Florida. I'm a native of Alachua County, so for me the character was like my uncle that that had a farm out in Bland, Florida, and my aunt that was those old men that I grew up around. I kind of drew on their spirit to bring that character to life.
And so much of even your story, Stan, is in the play. There's a iconic line in the play that I never forget is your story of integration, where you just said they came in and said, "Put your pencils down and integrate."
Yeah, matter of fact, someone was just talking about that this evening on social media, and I just responded, yeah, that we integrated. We're talking about the how long, what a short period of time from segregation, and they had segregation ending in 1954, and I'm like, well, we didn't integrate here in Alachua County until like what 1970, 71, something like that. I was in the second grade, so yeah, that was just yesterday.
Wow. Stan, I didn't let our audience know. I mean, a lot of people know you and know about you, but you are Gainesville's first poet laureate. You're the director.
Alachua County. You can't limit that to Gainesville. Alachua County.
All right, far and wide. Thank you for fixing my notes there. And director of Art Speaks. So you are an actor, you're a poet, you're a teacher and inspire the youth of Gainesville in writing. When you took on this play, I'd love to hear about like what you thought you could do with this role. Is it for you just a stepping into an acting role, or for you is it a bigger project to take up a character like this and a theme like this?
Well, it was just initially just for me stepping into an acting role, but as I got more involved in the production, I realized what a teaching tool this material could be. It's full of history, redlining. Brittney, you can all talk about all the different aspects of I guess oppression that's intertwined in this production, and I think you were going to use it for a teaching tool. Is that correct, Jeffrey?
Yeah, and I do use it as a teaching tool.
Okay.
I have about almost 100 students a year of my own who watch the film and reflect on the film, with the express purpose of, as you're saying, looking at these past events, and then the play looks at current events, and we wanted to use the play to look really at the social determinants of health now, and why there are health inequities in particular in the Black community. So you mentioned redlining. We wanted to draw the parallels and look at communities that have been historically redlined, and then look at the health outcomes in those communities now, and see the correlation between those communities that are still predominantly Black and the connection to heart disease and diabetes and other health outcomes, so that students in particular can see, like this stuff, this redlining isn't some ancient history. Like the results of it are alive and well and in our society today.
Absolutely. Brittney, Stan was just noting that you dealt with a number of other issues throughout the play. Rosewood, of course, is something that we're beginning to learn more and more about. I know that Frank Butler Beach, a symbol of segregation here in Florida, just to the East Coast. Did you learn history as you were diving into the archives?
Boy, did I. I had no idea that most of these things took place. Had no idea about Butler Beach. I actually didn't even realize Rosewood was, 40, 50 minutes up the street. Um, I just remember the movie about Rosewood in the early 90s. And, being from California, like I have no idea where Rosewood was. So when I realized that it was literally down the street, it just blew me away. Also, another thing that came up for us was something that I don't think that people explore much is the women's involvement in the civil rights movement. What they had to deal with as their husbands were on the front line, how much would they be involved, how they, had to continue to parent when, they're getting death threats and things like that. That was a very powerful piece that we knew needed to be included because when you think about civil rights, okay, sure, there's Rosa Parks. She's our one woman figure, but it's the women who were at home on the home front that were really the fighters in this.
Indeed. As you're talking, you're giving me chills, actually, Brittney, and reminding me of the experience of the play. So I want to ask all of you the age of COVID question that we all ask. We can't have currently yet, maybe in another 9 months, we can't have audiences together. So Jeff, you're using this film in a streaming situation. I'd love to hear what each of you, if you found things that you can do to continue your creative performance theater practice in this current environment we're working in. Brittney, you're unmuted, so maybe you can start us off and let us know what kind of things, what's the upside? What are you discovering? What are the challenges that you're turning into opportunities, if any? Because it can be a really tough time.
It's a perfect question for, especially the three of us here. We work so closely together. And in the midst of COVID, I actually was with Jeff and we were debating, like, what is the future of theater? And now, of course, we don't know. But I've actually been quite busy despite COVID. I've done a lot of readings on Zoom. There's a play a musical actually, that was filmed on a green screen, one cast member at a time. It's a different feeling, but I feel like the creatives and the theater community is trying to figure it out. I've also been working on writing projects. The first part of COVID, the first thing I thought, oh my goodness, I cannot perform. Well, I haven't stopped performing. That's first of all. Performance is turning into this, right? We're connecting differently, and different doesn't mean bad. But then I also had to remember, like, girl, this is not woe is me. You know how to write, and it's allowing me to just spend more time really nurturing that skill. So I'm okay with what's happening right now, and I have no doubt that people's need for theater will prevail. We need performance. So something awesome will come out of it because there's so much innovation happening. There's bound to be some great, great innovation in this. And I plan to be on the front lines of that as well.
Thanks, Brittney. That's really wonderful insights. Stan, I wonder if you have a thought about what's this all meant for you and where you're taking your creative energies.
It's doom and gloom. I like Brittney's answer though. I mean, the necessity is the mother of invention. So we'll figure it out. But I went through a period of I love people. I love being around other human beings, and I love live theater, live readings. So I really do miss that. We were talking about being someone, the seats at the edge of the theater stage, and where you can just you slob and you spit on the front row and that kind of thing. So that's that's good. That's gone. Maybe they have a big shield up now, I guess, going forward. You can still sit there and they just be splatter on that shield, on that big window. But I'm like Brittney said, I'm sure we'll figure something out. One of the things we found out that you actually can connect with a lot more people. A lot of times now you may not be in person, but you can get, hundreds of people on Zoom watching something that ordinarily you may be in a place where you only have maybe 50 people.
Yes, indeed.
So that's a cool thing. You can connect more people doing this Zoom stuff. So, but I've been trying to work on some new material, writing a new collection of poetry. It's titled Divine Mofo and Other Sacred Blues.
Mm-hmm.
So, but other than that, yeah, I'm just hoping and praying to be glad when we can all just congregate together again and hold hands and hug and that kind of thing.
Thank you for that, Stan. Offline, I'm going to ask you more about your collection of poetry, and we'll talk about that. But that's great. Jeff, you want to round us out and with a thought about how you're thinking about theater in this age?
Sure. I mean, I just want to shout out to Stan also how much I love his work online, and he responds so quickly to world events. I'm a follower of his on Facebook, and so I receive so much insight from Stan through his work. And even just connecting with you now, Stan, I'm always so grateful that you were such a rock throughout the entire production. You really were the glue, one of the big pieces of this play that we couldn't have done it without you.
Well, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah,
thank you.
But I'm focusing a little bit more on interactive forms now, which still work quite well. Forum theater and socio-dramatic forms where people come together and interrogate issues, and we still can have dialogues and practice a lot of interactive techniques. That is actually working quite well on Zoom. So I have managed to find an outlet and pivot a little bit with my work. It's not the same as working in the theater, but I do find that I get a lot of satisfaction out of improvising and doing, playing with interactive forms on Zoom.
Well, creative people are being creative in this difficult time. Thanks so much for sharing From Color to Black with us and for engaging in this open forum conversation. I just posted the link to Stan's Facebook page, so in the chat. So Stan, watch it jump up, and I'll make sure to share again the link to the full performance of, I think it's a 90-minute play. I should mention that the performance we showed a clip from was not done in the museum. That was from the theater. We do some. I think you can find some of that online from the museum.
Yeah, the museum performance is actually on the oral history, Sam Proctor oral history page, which I think is SPOP, SPHOP 111. They have a YouTube channel page. You can find it there. You can find the original Reynolds interview, Mr. Reynolds interview on the SPOT page. Mm-hmm. And we'll point out that the vignette that we saw, that was filmed in the Digital World Studio. Part of the play was filmed and then presented like a movie in the theater, the historical vignettes, and then the actors on stage. So Stan would see Stan playing other characters, and then the actors on stage would sort of discuss that history and bring it into the present at the backyard barbecue. So we had kind of a multimodal, multidisciplinary thing happening.
Yeah, that was really cool. If you haven't watched the play, you should check it out. It's really cool.
Fabulous. I posted a link in the chat to the Vimeo version, but I'll try and find the link you sent me earlier as well and share that, Jeff. Thank you all. I'm so grateful that you joined us tonight. We're going to switch over in a moment to welcome a choreographer and a dancer whose work that we're going to be sharing is actually really made to be seen on screen. And it's really an interesting response, again, to what we can do now. So hopefully the three of you can join us on the YouTube stream. And thanks again for being with us.
Thank you for having us, Eric. It's good to see you again.
Oh, such a pleasure. Tthank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Eric. Have a good night.
All right, Jeffrey. All righty, I am bringing in our talent and friends. Mimi Stalker. Hi, Rebekah.
Here.
Sammy, thank you all for joining us. So Mimi is my colleague at the Harn. That's why she gets a logo. And she's going to take over for this part of the conversation. Mimi, I do have the videos, of course, and I will stream them on your command. So you're in charge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Sammy. Hi, Rebekah. Thanks for coming on. So we are going to stream your performance from the BFA showcase from this semester, fall 2020. The showcase was called Truth Be Told, which was fully online, virtual, and included learning some video editing kind of on the fly, and I'm sure a lot of new software and equipment. So I'm sure that had its challenges, but also I'm sure you learned a lot of cool new ways to incorporate it into your practice. So we can go ahead and view the dance, which is called intra, extra. Rebekah is the choreographer, and the dancers include Sammy, who's with us tonight, Sumin Yum, Rachel Farmer, and Jordan Mendelson. Awesome. Thanks, Eric, for being our video streamer. So that was awesome. And congrats on putting it all together. So I have some questions to ask you all, and to anyone watching, feel free to put questions in the chat box on YouTube and we can answer those as well. So first of all, just could you tell us a little bit about the concept for this piece and maybe the meaning behind the title of the dance?
Yeah, so in addition to being a dance major, I'm also an applied physiology and kinesiology major, which is just like a lot of like muscles, training, all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much what this piece is about, just like the neuromuscular system and how a signal travels from our brain through our nerves to the muscle for us to like actually physically be able to move. So that's what it's about. And I kind of wanted to represent that process and that transmission of the signal through like full body movement. So that's kind of where the name comes into play, from like inter, from like inside to intra, that all the signals like reacting with each other, and then an extra, so like the whole full body movement.
Did that influence the kind of color scheme of what everyone was wearing?
Yeah.
Now that you say that, I think of, I don't know, muscle.
Yeah, totally.
Color of muscles. And even visually, it was nice. The green kind of backdrop with the kind of reddish pinkish clothes, kind of, it really popped. So obviously this was created to be streamed virtually. So you did not have any prior video experience, video editing, filming, directing. Can you talk about some of the pros and cons of kind of going through this process and thinking about the dance through this new lens, no pun intended?
Yeah, well, it was definitely difficult because I had never done this before. I never learned any kind of editing. And it definitely changed the way I had to think about the piece. But a pro would be that I really was able to do a lot of things that I couldn't have done without videoing. So even just like overlaying, like the very beginning and the very end, overlaying the dancers' bodies so they were together. Obviously, we couldn't have done that in real life. And just, yeah, the speed, I've like fast forwarded some of the clips. So I was able to like capture certain aspects of like the neuromuscular system through the video editing process. And yeah, it was difficult. My dancers actually never got to dance together. We filmed Sammy separately than the other three just because of COVID concerns. And really the first time we had like one in-person rehearsal with the three dancers that were able to film together before the actual filming day. So that was interesting. I think they did really well with it, but yeah.
Was it all filmed in the same location?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was it here in Gainesville?
It was.
Okay. Very cool. Let's see. So those scenes where it was kind of the vignettes kind of close up, were those highlighting those like certain muscle groups, or was there a meaning behind that?
So the very beginning is kind of like, in order for like the muscle contraction process to start, you kind of there have to be enough signals sent to like reach a threshold point. And so in the beginning, like each popping in, like each vignette would be a new signal. And so you have to like have enough add up to be able to like actually signal the muscle contraction to occur. So that's where I was going with that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Could you talk a little bit about what the process was like working on this together as choreographer and dancer?
You want me to start?
You go first.
Okay. I mean, Sammy is one of my really good friends, so it was really awesome to like, I've never really had a chance to work with her and like dance, like in a dance really. So that was really cool to just be able to work together as friends. She also isn't in Gainesville this semester. She's been staying at home in Orlando, so that was cool to get to work with her even though we're not here together. Sammy, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would just, like she said, I'm in Orlando. I'm not currently in Gainesville. So being able to work on this piece through Zoom, I think I'm incredibly grateful for that opportunity to still be able to do work while being so far away with restrictions and everything. And like she also said, it was our first time really working together. So getting to see her choreographic process, and Rebekah would have these PowerPoint presentations for us, or like bring up photos of like the process of the muscle contraction so that we had an understanding ourselves from the inside out of the piece, which I think was really helpful and really fruitful for the process. And it was just overall a really great process. And I think without having prior knowledge to video editing and video concepts and creating a dance film, it came out really well. So back to you.
Yeah, it is not easy to put something like that together and learn it so quickly. Sammy, have you been able to connect with any other dancers virtually or done any other kind of Zoom dance?
Yes, I have. Through Zoom, I've been able to take intensives with some dance companies outside. I was able to take a summer intensive with the Limon Dance Company and also with Dove Veronin Dance and Dancers, which I'm very grateful for, and it was an incredible experience with both. And throughout the semester, I've been able to, along with the BFA Showcase, I was in Rebekah's work, and I was also in Olivia Linfers' work, which was entitled Moxie, which is also obviously in the show. And that we got to work through Zoom, and also I was able to go up just a few times to Gainesville to rehearse socially distanced in person, which was really great to have that experience in the pandemic as well. Mm-hmm. And we also get to work with faculty members who are doing works for next semester. And those rehearsals have been on Zoom as well. And yeah, and through this, I've been able to work with other friends and artists who are like in New York right now. I'm working on like projects with them. And so this distance is actually bringing us closer together, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we are definitely experiencing that here at the Harn too. There's a question from the chat from Daniel, who asks, what was your favorite part of working on the piece from conception, creation, all the way to finishing touches? And that can be to both of you.
My favorite part was really just my dancers. Sammy, like I said, we're really great friends, so it was an awesome time to get to work with her. And my other three dancers this is their first year. They came into UF, COVID pandemic. So it was really great to get to know them, because we really don't get to see we haven't really met any of the freshmen. And they're all incredible. So it was just really, really great to get to know them and get to work with them, even though, how we are.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that being able to meet these three new dancers that just joined the program in this such a weird time was really great, to be able to get to know them and get to befriend them, because they're all amazing dancers and amazing human beings as well. I think one of my favorite parts of the process was filming. I think the filming process was a lot of fun. It was very interesting, and it was great to, especially being like enclosed in such a small space with like being in houses for so long, getting to dance out in the open space and get to record and have that experience was really awesome.
Yeah, even though I don't really have any experience with the filming and editing, I also really like once I got into the editing, I really, really enjoyed it.
Does this make you think differently about live performance versus kind of creating these films? Do you think you'll make more in the future, or is this kind of maybe a new avenue you want to explore more?
Yeah, especially since, I mean, the pandemic doesn't seem to be ending soon. So I think that dance films are a great way that any dancer can like just get their work and like make work and like just show stuff. It's also great because then after usually a live performance, you know, you go, you do it, and then you're done. And I mean, you can record it, but it's never really the same. But a dance film, you like really create it to like put out the effect you want, and that like effect will last forever, essentially.
Right.
So I think that, yeah, yes.
Yeah, the dance film has a set experience, and that experience lasts the entirety of the film in its existence.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah. Have you shared this like after showcase? Have you continued to share the film? I mean, we did here tonight, and you know, you'll have it forever.
Yeah, I actually, as we were watching it, I just realized that this was really the first time I've watched it since the showcase. But we, in the dance world, the college dance world, we have an organization called American College Dance Association, and every year they do like a live performance where they invite certain student choreographers from all like colleges all over to come and perform, show their work, get feedback, all that sort of thing. And I'm about to submit they're doing a screen dance festival this year, so I'm about to submit it for that. And it's like, I'm gonna look for other like film festivals to submit it to. So I think, yes, I will definitely continue to share.
That's so awesome. Very cool. All right. Well, thank you both so much for coming and joining us tonight and sharing your work. It's really beautiful. And it sounds like you are continuing on in taking this challenge and making the best of it. So I'm so happy that we were able to share it with our viewers and our visitors. And hopefully we'll just be seeing more of your dances to come. And next, we're actually going to screen a dance from Swamp Dance Fest. So this one you'll see even more kind of special effects that have been incorporated into the editing. So I hope you enjoy checking this one out. And Rebekah and Sammy, we will see you soon.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
It was great to have you. Thanks, Sammy and Rebekah. All righty.
You can't see me coming. You can't see me take. You can't see me taking over. You can't see me coming. You can't see me take. You can't see me taking over. You can't see me coming over, over the hill, over the ocean, over the mountain, over and over.
That was an incredible, those were both incredible dance performances, really just expanding the idea of what dance is, where it takes place, how it's presented. These students are so creative and energetic and inspiring. This last piece was choreographed by Layla Aisha Jones. It was called Inhabit Et, with dancers Carolina Rango, Caitlin Belland, Chardonnay Brooks, Lachey Brown, Catherine Deactuis, Lindsay Jolly, Aaron Keenstra, Andrea Marin, Noisha Noel, Beatrice Reyes, Ella Romaine, and John V. Shaw. They were fantastic. That was from Swamp Dance Fest 2020, an annual production, summer production. This was under the direction of Trent Williams, the remarkable dance faculty member in the University of Florida Department of Theater and Dance. Trent was an amazing partner in connecting us with our dancers tonight, and I'm so grateful to him for that. This is, let me actually start up one more little clip for the background here as we share a little more information. Screen share, of course. Sorry. Technology for non-professionals. Here we go. Alrighty, so wanted to share with you that this evening has been sort of an example of some of the great stuff that we get to be involved in at the museum, working with students, working with faculty, working with community members. to support creativity and its broad forms of expression and exploration. We really focused on the performing arts tonight. Next month, we'll be returning more to the visual arts and to our exhibitions. We'll be focusing on one of our exhibition's global perspectives, which is contemporary art from around the world. It's Museum Nights Global Inspirations on January 14th at 7 o'clock right here on YouTube. And we'll have student photography and other really fun and engaging activities. I totally invite you to go check out From Color to Black, look up UF Swamp Dance Fest 2020 and past incarnations. These are amazing experiences that you can continue to explore right now from home at this time when you can't get to the theaters. And then when we can get to the theaters, I encourage you to rush out to the theaters and experience them in their safest, best manner. The museum, as I said earlier, is open currently. Our hours are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 10 to 5, Sunday, 1 to 5. Those hours are likely to change as we enter the new year, so check our website. There are many great exhibitions available to view. I mentioned those earlier in the hour, and invite you to check out our website, harn.ufl.edu. I'm going to, in a moment, just by way of signing out, share a PowerPoint with some of the many other creative activities going on here in Gainesville. We have so many people in the visual arts, the performing arts, all kinds of creatives who are making Gainesville a lively place and a lot of opportunities for you to engage. So I'm going to share those with you as a PowerPoint slide, and that will be by way of saying good night. It's been a real pleasure to be with all of you tonight. It's been an amazing experience to speak with the people who are kind enough to join us. And I thank you for being part of this evening. Wish you well. And again, please enjoy this. I think it's a 2-minute PowerPoint that shares some of the opportunities, as I say, for other creative engagements here in Gainesville, some of which are for adults, others which support children in schools, bringing creative experiences, both performing arts and museum experiences to K-12 students. So we believe that an art museum, even at a university, serves the campus, but also serves the community, and it's at its best when it's doing both. We invite you to check out our coming programs in the new year, currently all online. But in the near future, we look forward to welcoming you back into the galleries for programs when that makes good sense for all and is safe. Thanks once more. I'm wishing you health and a wonderful new year. Let me also wish you, since this may be my last opportunity, a happy Hanukkah, which is tonight, of course, a Merry Christmas, and an inspiring Kwanzaa. 3 December holidays, which we can all enjoy taking note of together. Thanks. Good night.